Hey guys, so I'm going to talk to you about the press molding and drape molding for clay for our 7th grade project. Couple things that you will kind of need, especially things that you can find at home. Plastic fork, plastic spoon. You could even use a plastic knife, which is really kind of nice. I'm just going to use just a random pencil. Paper clip is actually really helpful as well. And then a bowl. I would suggest probably a plastic bowl just in case, you push too hard and you don't want to break anything, and glass is kind of dangerous. And then also either napkins or paper towels. So put you down here so you can see. What you're going to do is anytime you're not using your clay, you're going to keep it in your plastic bag and Ziplocked. Otherwise, if it's in contact with air, it will dry and then it'll get rock hard. So then you won't be able to work with it. If you notice that it's starting to get kind of dry, you can actually wet down some paper towels and wrap the paper towels around your clay and put it back in your bag for a day or two. And then it will soak up that water and then get nice and soft again. Okay, so what you're going to do first is you are going to cover your bowl with a paper towel or napkin or something. So you need something between your clay and your bowl. Otherwise, your clay is going to end up sticking to your bowl, and then you have to peel piece by piece off your bowl. So again, it'll be sticky. Okay, so then after that, I'm going to show you both ways, the draping and the pressing. I'm going to do the pressing first. So the pressing is what goes inside your bowl, and draping goes on the outside of your bowl. And all we're going to do is we're going to take pieces of our clay, chunks of our clay, and you can make just different designs out of it. You could just roll some balls, roll different size of balls out. Maybe you want them all the same size. That's up to you. So you could do something like that. You could make little snakes, or coils is what they are also called, and roll them out and do stuff like that. So you could keep it this way. You could shape it any way you wanted it to be, something like that. You could actually make a ball first. Flatten your clay out. And here's where you can take either your pencil, your knife tool, or plastic knife. You could even take your paper clip here and use that as kind of like a needle tool. And you can draw stuff out and cut stuff out. You could even use, if you wanted and had some, cookie cutters work really good too as cutting out patterns. So I could just draw out and cut out little pieces and make like a star. Just be careful when you put it on your countertop. It gets a little sticky. Might stick to it. So I could do stuff like that. So when you start kind of coming up with your ideas and designs, kind of try and not do too many random things and have somewhat of an idea of where you're going to go with this. Okay, so I can start sticking my designs inside my bowl, and I'm going to be pressing that design into the form of the bowl. Okay, then I can stick my next one. This one's a pretty big ball, so I'm going to actually split that up into two. So I can take my ball, stick it next to it, flatten it out. And you do want to actually overlap them and have them touching as well. If you end up having little holes in there later where they're not touching everything and not covering up everything, that is totally fine. So then I can also put this guy in there next to it. So he's got to overlap at least one piece somewhere. Push that in there. See that I have little holes here? That's fine, they can stay there. I'm going to fill my entire thing, my entire bowl full up to the edges. You can even wrap around the edge just a little bit. I would also maybe suggest doing the bottom first. I started with the sides. I probably should have started with the bottom. I'd suggest starting with the bottom first. I could make a big swirl. So if you wanted, you could just cut out a bunch of different stars and have your bowl just made out of stars that are pressed together. Okay, I could make a spiral by curling it together. Putting that maybe on towards the bottom. Remember, I have to overlap at least a little part of it. And then once you fill the entire thing full and you have basically almost everything covered and overlapping, what you're going to end up doing is actually smoothing the whole inside out. So I don't want to see any of these actual designs. I'm going to blend them all together. So like this. And if that blends in some of your holes, that's fine too. So I don't want to actually see any cracks. I want it to be all like it's one kind of piece here. This is a little more difficult because I don't actually have my whole bowl made. But so then you smooth it all out. Let it sit for a couple hours out in the air to dry. We don't want to let it sit for a day or two because then what will end up happening is it could crack on you if it stays in your bowl. So let it sit for a couple hours. Check it, see if it's going to hold its shape. So just check it, see if it dried enough to where you think you can take it out of the bowl and it still look like a bowl when it's done. So then I can actually carefully pull it out of my bowl, peel off the paper towels, and all my design will be on the outside if you press. So, because I smooth the inside out, so the inside of my bowl will be smooth and finished. The outside will have all my designs on it. So that won't actually get smoothed out and go away. But you need to smooth the inside for pressing just to make sure that all of your pieces actually stay together. If you don't smooth either the inside or the outside, your pieces will start to fall off as it dries. Okay, so that's the example of pressing. If you decide to do draping, you want the outside of the bowl, then you do the same thing. So you use the bottom, put your paper towels over, and I could actually do big long strips too. Show you here. Roll some coils out here quick, some snakes. And I could do a weaving pattern, which would be kind of cool, which is also on the pictures. So I could go from one side to the next, across, keep going, keep just adding. I could braid them together and put them in there. So when you are draping, you're going to smooth the whole outside. So the outside of your bowl is going to be smooth and your decoration is going to be on the inside of your bowl. So I could just crisscross them like this. You remember, you want to press them down so they actually form to your bowl. And you want to get as much clay as possible surrounding your bowl, because if I left it like this, it's not going to really have a bowl shape. It's not going to have, there's just too much empty space. You don't want a lot of empty space. So you keep going and keep adding more and more coils. Again, I could weave them in and out from each other. I could add another one here. Press it down. Maybe I'm going to switch it up. Have four little balls in the corners here. I'll hold it up here in a second so you can see my design that I've got going on. One more. So you can really almost go anywhere with this. You could even write your name in coils in your bowl. So kind of here's the idea. So I'm going to end up filling this entire thing, but for time's sake, I'm not going to. And then you need to smooth it out. So I'm going to blend all of this together so you won't see the design on the outside. But when I take it off, you will be able to see the design on the inside. So I'm just smoothing it with my finger. You could smooth it with a plastic spoon or just even a regular spoon. Just the bottom of it works really good too. You just want to blend them all together. Make sure you don't see any of your actual design and cracks in there. I'll show you what that looks like here. And then just make sure when you are all done, you completely press all of your clay against your bowl, which is your mold, which your clay is molding to your bowl. Okay, so you see that I can't see my design anymore. I kind of blended it all together. My bowl will be really smooth on the outside. You don't want to see any cracks or anything like that. So craftsmanship is key. And then let it dry for a couple hours again. Don't leave it on the bowl because as clay dries, it actually shrinks a little bit. So because your bowl, your mold stays the same size, your clay will shrink and then actually can't go anywhere, and then it'll start cracking and then crack to pieces. Okay, once it dries, take it off your bowl, and then you will see that my whole design is on the inside of the bowl if you drape it. Okay, see right now it's not holding its shape and it's starting to flatten out because of gravity and because it's still in that flexible, it's still pretty wet, so it won't hold its position. Same because there's also big holes here. So you want to fill as much clay in as possible and get that nice bowl form. All right, well, good luck. Let me know if you have any questions as we go. I also have a cart at the entrance of the high school that if you want to keep your bowl, when you are done, it needs to be fired in a kiln. Otherwise, if it gets wet, it kind of turns back to mush again. So if you want it to get fired and keep your bowl, put it on that cart, but make sure your name is somewhere on the bowl. Otherwise, we might not know who to give it back to when we are done. All right, good luck.